The next guest is coming off an impressive victory over Jordan Espinosa at UFC 259 back on March 6th. It's Tim Elliott back here on the program. Tim, how's it going, man?
Good, James. Thanks for having me.
Hey, of course. Great to be talking to you. Really huge win, like I mentioned. What was the game plan heading in? Because it looked like you executed it pretty well.
The game plan was for me to switch southpaw and open my stance up and try to really shut down his lead jab. I feel like that's his best punch. So the whole camp we worked staying left-handed and shutting that down. But, in between the first and second round, I had to make a big adjustment. And in between the second and third round, I had to make a big adjustment. But that's all James Krause. Like, he actually shut down the game plan a little bit, in between both breaks of the fight. So, again, things I don't necessarily see, but he's the best, man. He's the best in the business.
Yeah, so you're just kind of on autopilot, right? Like, whatever James says, you pretty much do, and you stick to it, right? Because it's worked for you so far.
I certainly try to.
Yeah, right, as best as you can, obviously. That's good. Anything in the fight about Jordan that surprised you that maybe you weren't expecting, that you had, you mentioned some adjustments. Was there anything in there that you weren't expecting?
Yeah, he was, I knew he was going to be fast and athletic. I thought that he felt really strong. I wasn't really expecting him to feel so strong up against the cage. The game plan was to, stay left-handed, shut that jab down, not take him down in open mat, was to put him up against the cage and take him down there. I had one takedown off the cage, I think, and then in between first and second rounds, James Krause was like, hey, no more cage takedowns. I want you to shoot an open mat takedown. So, bam, I did that. Going into second and third round, he was like, hey, the opening your stance is working just fine. But the only way for you to lose this fight now is big head kick. So I want you to close the stance up, go right-handed, and that shut down the big head kick. So I don't want to say that there was nothing that was surprising because it's a fight and anything can happen, but we were well prepared for anything that Jordan was able to do. And again, that's my team and my coaches.
Watching at home, I thought you were going to get the nod. You did get the nod. How were you feeling going into the judges' scorecards?
I knew I was winning the fight portion of the fight. I don't know exactly how, there's a lot up for, personal preference when it comes to judging the fights and scoring the fights, it seems like. And I've lost fights where I was being exciting and having fun and thought that I'd won. And then, in this fight, I knew that I was winning. I knew that I'd won the fight. But I always want to be exciting. That's my goal. But, I've finally won. I got a little streak going. I got 2 in a row. I don't want to be exciting at the risk of losing. I want to first stake my place and get me some wins and then, work from there.
Were you surprised you were the betting underdog? I don't know if you pay attention to that stuff going in, but just with how much more experience you had, I was a bit surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is when people go back and look at records, all they see is numbers and inconsistencies with my game. They don't really put into consideration the guys that I fought. So I was a little bit surprised, but that's the way it goes. Jordan's good, man. I wasn't overlooking him at all. I knew it was going to be a tough fight. And not only that, I really had to go against the things that I really wanted to do in the fight in order to make sure that I secured a win. That's not easy for me. It's not easy for me to like, I don't want to say go backwards, but I've kind of like developed a thing that I want to call my style. But, like James Krause says, like, you want to have style or do you want to win fights? And, I want to win now. I've done that for too long. I'm ready to start winning.
On that same note, do you have anyone win any money on the fight?
I don't know. I'm sure James, he's a betting man, Krause. So anytime I think he feels good about a thing, I would think that that was a good bet. That's a smart bet.
Yeah. Because you were plus money. Like, I don't know if you got any DMs or anything from people saying, hey, man, I want some money or anything like that. Usually that happens when an underdog wins, right?
Yeah. Twitter, sometimes. But again, it's a betting sport. We're betting on ourselves every day. Like we just moved from a house. We're in Las Vegas now, still trying to get our house ready to rent. Like, we love this house that we just bought in Las Vegas. We loved our team here. We loved the weather here, but like, it just wasn't working for Gina and I. We weren't winning fights. And, in Kansas City, I went back to like living that fight life. We were living in a small 1-room area. Like, we didn't bring any furniture with us. Like, me, my daughter, and Gina were all like, we didn't have a couch. We were using the bed as a couch. Like, it was like back to, grimy old school fight days, and it felt good. And, and that's where we're at now. I'm back to like living that fight life, and I'm learning again, man. It's so cool to like it was just like work hard, and try to get better that way. But I'm never going to be able to work so hard where these young kids are not catching me. It's not possible. So like now it's time to like work smart. And, that's where James comes in.
I know there's a little bad blood going into the fight and even during the fight. Have you and Jordan sort of buried the hatchet, or are you guys still at the same point you were before the fight?
There's nothing to really bury, man. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't trying to blast the kid or hurt his image or anything. If I would have done that, I would have said things on interviews and really opened up about that. That wasn't my goal. I had the guy taken down, and I was whispering in his ear, and really what it comes down to is I was frustrated because I wasn't doing as well in the fight as I wanted, and that was upsetting me. And all I can really do is focus on myself. I don't know the whole story, and I don't want to. It's none of my business.
Yeah. I was just more curious if you guys had like kind of talked after the fight or not, but it doesn't sound like it. Which is all good, It makes sense,
Like, and that's, it took away from the fight a little bit, I feel like, because usually, and I've been beat by guys and I beat guys, and I'm usually pretty close with the guys that I fight, but there was just something about them, and it was rubbing me the wrong way, and I had a few messages, and really what it is, I lost my cool, and that's something that I'm going to have to work on as a fighter. This is a professional game. This isn't the WWE. I shouldn't be airing dirty laundry out and trying to make other people look bad or even making myself look bad in the process. But, it was said, the things I said, and that was meant between Jordan and I. And as far as I'm concerned, everything is squashed. And, again, I feel bad the fact that it was so loudly broadcast, and people are like, oh, mics follow the cameras. But really, I took them down on the spot, and I was just right on top of a microphone. It wasn't in an empty, quiet arena. It wasn't something that I was trying to announce to the world, and it's not something that I'm super proud about now. But I was in a dogfight feeling like I was in a parking lot, and I'd have said the same thing to him if I was in the parking lot, and that's something I have to work on as an athlete. And, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes as well. And I would just wish the focus was more on the fight and not on that.
You talked about it there. You're in Vegas right now. How long are you planning on staying out there? Obviously, you got some stuff to take care of with the house and all that, but what's sort of the plan for the rest of the week anyways in Vegas?
Trying to get this place done. It's getting closer. We have Gina's father here, and Gina and myself and another teammate helping, but ideally we would be done as close as we can for Saturday. James wants us back in the gym. I mean, even on Monday, like, he wants you back in. He said, we go out and we fight on Saturday, and whether you win or lose, you either get the weekend to celebrate or the weekend to cry. And then on Monday, it's back in the gym. And he wants you in there, even if you can't practice, to sit and watch and hear his speech. So Gina and I weren't able to do that. We missed that after practice speech on Monday, but we got to FaceTime in with James while it's happening. And like, it's important to him to know that, like, we're there and we're present, even though we're, halfway across the country, but we're trying to get back home and back in the gym ASAP. Gina has a fight coming up. I'm looking to fight again. I'm really interested in the KaraFrance fight. That's a fight I've been after for a while. We both just won on the same card, so I feel like that's a fight that possibly I can get. And I just want to keep getting better and keep the ball rolling. And in order to do that, I have to be in Kansas City.
Yeah, you kind of answered a couple of my questions there. So I imagine the focus right now is on Gina and her fight, and then after that's done, then sort of look at when you want to return. But you already have an opponent in mind, which is great. So
yeah, and a time frame right after Gina's fight. I'll go.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Just if that fight did end up happening, you and KaraFrance, stylistically, how do you look at that fight?
I mean, it's hard to say with him. He's a monster. He was losing that Bontorin fight, I thought, and that guy was on his back, on his neck. It was close to having him finished, and then you just can't count a guy like KaraFrance out. I think he's one of the more dangerous guys in the UFC, one of the more dangerous guys maybe that I've ever fought. But those are the fights that I want. It takes two to tango, and I felt like this fight with Jordan Espinosa was a little bit boring, but he didn't really try to get up. He didn't try, you know what I mean? Like, it's not my duty to make the fight exciting for both of us. But KaraFrance is not going to lay there with his face on the mat when you take him down. He's not. He's going to get back to his feet, and he's going to throw bombs. And, like, that makes for excitement, and that's where the bonus money comes in. It's like fighting guys like Brandon Royval. Lost that fight in the second round, early in the second round, got a bonus because, it was two guys trying to finish the fight. It takes two guys to really make good chemistry in a fight, and I feel like KaraFrance will be one of those guys.
Good stuff, Tim. Again, congratulations on the win. It was a great performance. I know, like you said, you wanted it to be a little bit more entertaining, but you got the win. That's the main thing, back-to-back victories now. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, I'll give you the last word.
At awkward_MMA on Instagram. And again, all glory and everything to my team, James Krause, Jason High, Austin Ford, Grant Dawson, those guys. Man, and the whole team. Like, we got a team full of killers out there in Kansas City, and man, it's good to be on that winning track. I appreciate it.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.